Hey guys, Rodrigo Lima here, Lime Design, and I have a couple very special guests today. We have Manuel Garcia, who's our senior product developer and project manager, and then we have very special guests, Guillaume and Tony from Bsense. These are one of our sourcing partners. They handle manufacturing and getting things sometimes final prototyping and development, manufacturing, getting tooling done, and shipping products to wherever we want them shipped. So today we're going to be talking about difficult manufacturing related product questions. A lot of times people don't really understand how technically complex manufacturing and tooling is, and this is just an opportunity for us to hear it from a very well-versed tool maker and manufacturing specialist. Guillaume's got over 20 years in doing exactly that, and I'm really happy to have here with us today, guys. So
thank you very much, Rodrigo, for the invite and giving me the opportunity to talk about manufacturing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So manufacturing. There's 100 questions that we can ask about manufacturing, but I like to just start off by asking the most difficult ones. So, What do you think is one of the most difficult things about manufacturing that our clients can learn from and be able to be better equipped?
So first of all, first key is to not inform your customer about the problems and try to solve everything you can before you actually reach a point where it concerns them. But obviously the truth is, on a daily basis you have problems. So of course little problems. And in a lifetime of the project, it starts with the design. Okay, so I'm not answering your question on the most difficult, because every step has different difficulty. But one of the first, and you know it well, is the design. So when you guys make all the development, the prototyping, and everything, then we reach the manufacturing of the mold. We have surprises. Okay, because it's impossible to think ahead of any problem you could have. Okay, experience.
So I think what he's trying to say, I hope I'm right here, is that prototyping throughout the process will make it easier to have less problems in manufacturing.
Definitely, yeah. You need to have the part in hand. You need to understand how the parts go together. Mm-hmm. If you have a function, even if you like the look or not. So this is obviously a very, very important step. On when the customer wants to skip this, troubles happen.
Mm-hmm. Okay, got you. When you're developing something, a lot of times it's something that hasn't been done before. The first prototype is to figure out what is functioning with the design, right? Is the size right? Is the way that it goes together? Does that make sense? We're really trying to figure out more, like how the device functions and what it looks like at an early stage. And as we go through the development, there's a series of prototypes, typically at least 2 to 3 prototypes, to get to the point where you're ready to go to a manufacturing specialist and start getting actual apples to apples pricing and getting tooling costs and unit costs.
Yeah, it's very important to educate the customer, to explain him that when he wants a prototype, sure, he will have his prototype. But what's happening in real is that you don't make one prototype, you make several ones. Mm-hmm. Okay, and sometimes the customers, they don't understand this, or they don't even see it, because as I said earlier, you try to fix all the problem ahead until you have your final prototype, which looks good and the customer is happy about it.
Mm-hmm. So typically, there's a draft prototype, and then you'll have like an intermediary prototype, which is, functions well, but it's not made in the final material. And then you have an appearance prototype. So there's like 10 different types of prototypes that are normally used for different reasons, maybe marketing needs or engineering studies.
And that's not the end of it, because these prototypes are made before the tooling. But even after you have the mold, you will try several materials. Mm-hmm. You can make a texture on the part, for example, that the customer doesn't like, because he prefer to have something more deep, more matte, or whatever, more shiny. So there is the phase before the mold, and then there is the phase after all the toolings.
Okay, so yeah, basically we all agree that prototyping is the way we should go before manufacturing, right? But okay, so what are the issues that you have like in the process of manufacturing? So if we can prevent something prior manufacturing by making prototypes, testing the functionality, testing the aesthetics as well, the dimensions, all the stuff. But when, let's call it, everything is ready for manufacturing, I don't think everything is perfect there. So what are the issues that you see commonly happen and at that specific stage of manufacturing, even if everything was resolved prior to manufacturing?
Everything is, as you said, nothing is completely resolved, but before this we try to consult every expert of every process and material, and we first get any problem we could have before it happens. But we always have something which is not perfectly like we imagine to get. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean it's bad. It's just that we need to adapt. Okay, so the problem could be really difficult, or it could be very simple. So 99% of the time, it's very small problem. We tweaks, and it's okay. The big problem happen mainly on obviously complex parts where it involved different materials. This is really complicated because you have different factories. One factory making the steel, one factory making the plastic, the silicone, and all these parts, they go together. So when you have function problem, you need to be able to say, okay, what's the easiest solution? Do you modify the plastic? Do you modify the silicone or the metal?
Mm-hmm.
And that's involved, another level of expertise, and everybody around the table to discuss what the solution.
Mm-hmm.
But this is really, really complex, And after I'm not even talking about electronic, when you have a motor on a PCBA and you need to display something, that's other difficulties.
Another difficulty I think we've seen is sometimes when it's things that are out of our control that tend to be some of the most difficult things, like when we're just ordering things that are very standard parts, like maybe like a light or a magnet or a clip, something like that we're not necessarily manufacturing, that already exists, that we can get for much cheaper. We can have delays. Maybe we get the wrong color, maybe we get the wrong size. Little things like that can have a 1 to 2 week delay, and it's completely out of our control when some of those things happen. Those are another difficulty that we've come across in the past.
Mm-hmm. So, like Tony was saying earlier, we've been visiting a lot of different factories in South Florida, from Miami to West Palm. We spent this week doing that, and we also. So I want to answer one of the questions that's here on our frequently asked questions. It says, first of all, do you take products to manufacturing? Obviously, we take products to manufacturing. We design, prototype, and then we work with a partner such as Bsense to actually produce the product and basically get it to us in packaging, ready to go. The next question here is, do you manufacture in the USA or in China? So, I would rephrase this question to, do you manufacture domestically in the US or also internationally? And the question is yes to both of those. We manufacture in the USA when it makes sense, and we manufacture in China when it makes sense. So one of the things that actually, I'll phrase that as a question, since this is a podcast and I want to hear it from you. So, what kind of products would make sense to make in the USA? Because I know that not every product makes sense due to labor costs and assembly and all that stuff, but I'll let you kind of dig into that a little bit.
So, before we answer this question, we need to understand what is not working well with manufacturing in China. We have the shipping costs, which has been increased a lot since
About
COVID.
4x or so, 3 or 4x.
And, The problem with logistics is that the price go up, but it doesn't go down much. So I believe it's going to stay up anyway. We'll never find the same price than in 2019. So that's first difficulty. And the second difficulty, actually there is three difficulties. The second is manpower or resources and price. Of course, comparing to the salary in China and the availability of course, Chinese staff. But the third difficulty also is the manufacturing networking. If we have a product which is quite complex with different process and material, in China, for example, around my office, 30 kilometers around, I have all possible factories. They can do any kind of process. But around there, this is a difficulty. So when you have a very complex product with a lot of processes, you're going to struggle a lot to find all the partners in US and then to find the assembly factory who's willing to do this complex assembly and everything. So finally, to answer the questions, when we have projects, we always ask ourselves, okay, we can do it in China for sure. Can we do it in US? And so to answer your question, plastic injection, it's quite easy because there's a lot of factories around. It makes sense because most of the time there are large parts. And it's quite automated process. It doesn't require manpower. So products with without electronic, without too many processes, then we can make it in USA. And we are pushing in this way because it's what the customer wants, and our target is always to satisfy the customer. And we are really willing to propose this to them.
And yeah, that makes totally sense. That's something that we learn in this process of helping our clients to find the manufacturer or the company to make the product. Is the company that makes everything under the same roof doesn't exist, right? It's impossible to find a company that's going to make the injection molding, the electronics. It doesn't exist. So something something that we have to say is, in China, you guys have everything, all years and years of experience have helped them to resolve that issue of this company do this company do that, so you have those connections already like well tailored, everything is like, you receive this product and you know who you have to contact and how they're going to resolve it, right? Yeah. And so since that company that makes everything under the same roof doesn't exist, something we learn is like, if we want to do something, or source a specific product with different parts, metal, plastic pieces on the same product, we have to find us, Lime Design, we have to find a company that makes the plastic. We have to find a company who makes the metal and the company that assembles those two pieces, because it's not easy. It's not easy to find that specific company who can handle the whole thing. That's very important to for our clients to understand that even if you want manufacturing in the United States is totally feasible, is something that we can do, but we have to find the perfect pieces of the puzzle so we can put it together in the product. Yeah. But that's the good thing. Now we have Guillaume helping us with portion of that in terms of the tooling, and that's something that I think we should discuss too, is about terms, like tooling, ejector pins. Without going too technical, but I think it's important for our audience to understand that.
I think we could do a video that specifically talks about the terminology of the mold. I think that could be something that everybody can learn from. I wanted to take this opportunity here to play a game.
All right.
So the game is which one can be made in the USA?
All right.
So we have a couple different products here.
Let's go one by one. First,
some electronics.
First, we'll analyze every process. Okay, so these are two shells in injection with little rope and packaging. This is easy to make in the USA. Oh, no, sorry, it's soft silicone compression. Okay, the silicone compression process is quite easy. That would be like the easiest process to make in US. Even if the price is higher because you need manpower to process this.
So that means that it's not necessarily a good product for the U.S. because it needs the manpower to operate the silicone manual machinery.
Yeah.
Or I mean that one's injected.
It would be more if it's silicone injection. No, that's not. I would not make it in US. Yeah. Too complex. Too complex.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about the cost of the material? Is it more expensive here or overseas?
No, it's cheap.
Specifically,
Still cheaper.
you know,
Still cheaper overseas.
Okay.
Could be the silica or the plastic. You know, a lot of plastic is also coming from China. You know, they have giant factories. So, you know, with the logistic cost, still. Okay, this part is obviously injected. So if it's only this product, then okay, no problem to make in the USA. This part has some machining, so that's going to be expensive because a lot of manual work. I guess you need an operator in front of the CNC machine. So yeah, it's quite expensive to make in the USA. This is interesting. This machine making this plastic bag is giant.
It's a manual process to make that. After they take the bags, they're putting an insert, which is a wet wipe on the inside of that.
Yeah, but the plastic here is extrusion, so large films, and it goes like in several rolls, and it's cut, welded on the edge to close the bag, and then after rolled, like these little things. So which process you said is manual? Just to close it?
Well, when they load in this product here is for cleaning up dog poop. Like it's a baggie that has a wet wipe on it, so you can clean your hand if you get poop on it.
Okay, so it's half the process. So from my experience, so they stop in the
middle. This is the first part, and the second part is rolling the bag up to the middle.
Okay.
Putting this in place, finish rolling it, stopping. But you have a manual process that stops at every one bag.
Yeah.
So this is.
Okay. Yeah.
I know because I got this made overseas and
could not see the little bag inside. You trapped me.
It was actually very hard to find somebody to do this.
It was really.
I called about 20 different factories to find one to do that.
Yes. So
all right.
That's it. I cannot answer.
How about this one? Okay,
so I guess you have electronics inside. You have a speaker. You have a lot of injected parts. The electronic is trouble because it's so cheap to develop and make in China that you can't compete. I think most of the electronic is made in China, but you can still inject some parts in US, finish the assembly in US with the packaging, but sure the electronic.
So you would, in that case, then you would send all the electronics and have it assembled if it needed to be made in the USA.
Yeah, we would make half.
All right, here I'm going to give you an easy one. Here we go. That piece right there.
Yeah. It's written on it. Made in USA. Yeah, it's only injection, so if it's only this, you need to consider every time that you have a packaging together with it. You need a nice packaging, so it's a little manual work. But still,
put it into the box, into the packaging. So basically,
I don't know how the packaging looked like, but probably you have like a plate printed.
That had other pieces involved with it, straps
little bag
and stuff. This came with a bunch. It was part of a system.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right.
Cool. All right. How about this one right here?
All right. So you have some.
It's a light. It's a clip anywhere light. I worked on this product. It was sold at Home Depot.
Cool.
I don't know, 5 years ago or something, 7 years ago.
Okay, so standard component. There's some electronics, LEDs come from China that you would buy. Even if you want to manufacture in US, you would buy it in China. So it's already half of the product is already a made in China product.
Oh, and that product has to sell to the U.S. For no more than $3 a unit sold in the
Wow.
U.S.
Okay, so yeah, between like shipping the components to US, injecting US, finish the assembly in US,
Yeah.
that would be very expensive. Yeah. But after it depends on the customer. If he wants to, the marketing of made in USA is very important. Then why not? No problem.
It brings
Mm.
brings some value, definitely.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. When you see this kind of problem, that's interesting. That's something we didn't talk about it before. This to make is very chemical, and
What is chemical? The coating?
The coating.
Yeah, the chroming. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, because it's several bath of chemicals,
Mm-hmm.
and at some point, like 30 years ago, all the manufacturing of this kind of chroming has been transferred to China, and it came from a very regulated process in US to an awful like environment disaster in China, because all these chemical bath, after
Yeah.
sometimes it's just like
Dump
dump in the river, and then we use new chemicals to make it. So just to say, the regulation in China is getting much better, but still, it's extremely complicated to find a factory which make this kind of chroming because of all the restrictions. And it's
In the
very
USA.
expensive in USA. It's very expensive to make in USA.
Okay.
So this immediately, unfortunately, too bad for the environment, but still has to be made in China.
About this part right here.
All right, with the material, it's
Some kind of a rubber or butyl or something.
yeah. So it's rubber. So yeah, you probably make it in a compression mold. So you can make it in US because it's a simple process. The silicone compression is quite easy. Mm. So yeah, a little bit of manpower for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Price increase.
That could be a good
feasible.
one then.
It's feasible. Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
Ready for another easy one or you want a hard one?
No, hard one. I look
Hard
at
one.
too easy.
How about
Give
this
me
one?
the bottle. I know.
Oh, here. Let's do this one.
Yeah, that's
Silicone shoe cover.
it's
This is
Okay.
an early prototype.
yeah. No, I'm thinking how to make it. So this is probably latex, for the cereal part. So it is the process. For this to have a good price, you need a very big quantity because it's an automatic machine. You have to imagine like this foot is in metal, and you dump it into a bath of latex, and you take it out.
Mhm.
Okay, and then after you have another process of like making the bottom. So you need quite a big volume. So if you have your volume and you have the factory in US, then why not? It's completely automated. So
Mm-hmm.
like this, completely automated, volume,
Mhm.
USA. Okay. Bottle.
So that's a blow molded part with an injection molded cap.
Actually, you have two ways of making this. We have extrusion blow molding,
Mm-hmm.
and if you have higher volume, it's injection blow molding.
Okay.
The injection blow molding, you just make like a
preform.
little a preform, yeah.
Right. It's already
And
comes
then after-
in, it heats up and
Yeah,
blows.
you hit, and then after you blow inside. Yeah.
So it's like
a bit
buying a blank, basically, like a blank little test tube. It looks like a test tube, basically. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
We can
yeah.
show an example of it.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting because most of people they don't know that the drinking bottle and it's all made
Mhm.
like this, because it's very big
That's
volume.
supposed to be something clear, right?
Yeah, that would be like a clear, like a PET G.
Yeah.
Drinking,
Yeah.
Water bottle.
So I believe the injection blow molding could be completely automated. The extrusion blow molding is a little bit more difficult. The reason is when it gets out of the extrusion blow molding, you have plastic all around. You need to cut nicely, and then after you have to scrap away. And this is really manual work. You need to have a knife and cut nicely. There's no robot, to do it.
Yeah.
You stamp it, but after you still need, someone to take it away. So or anyway, you need someone in front of the machine. So
Right.
yeah.
All right.
So, but still can be made in USA if it's not like too.
So let's separate these.
You don't have too many things on.
So into definitely which ones 100% you could say, yeah, I would make this in the States and I would make this. How would, if you put it from left to right, these being made in the USA
Yeah.
and those meaning make it most likely somewhere else.
Yeah.
So these are big volume automated, no problem.
Okay, but only if it's automatic, so automated, which means, I mean, what kind of volume are you talking about to automate something like this? Are we talking 100,000 or are we talking a million? Or
100,000 minimum.
Okay.
Yeah, minimum to launch
Okay.
the machine. Yeah, yeah. These stay in China. This machining as well. This could be made in USA.
Mhm.
And the silicone injection.
You put it in the middle.
Yeah, so I need to find someone to propose this silicone
I
injection.
mean,
is
I've
quite
looked for silicone injection molding in South Florida, and they won't even touch it unless it's like hundreds of thousands of piece order.
Yeah.
So it's like,
because it is complex, require a lot of development and fitting and stuff. So for sure, you need to have good volume. Otherwise, not interesting.
how about that one over there too?
Is China. Okay, it's mainly everything is injected, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
On some assembly.
And that snaps, everything snaps together.
Yeah, you can do it easily in US. No problem.
So this one for a fact is manufactured in the U.S. right now.
Yeah.
I tried to throw another trick question at him just to see what he would say. You passed that test, sir.
Okay, thank you very much.
Excellent.
And this one in the middle, electronics, and with some injected. This is you have chroming.
Same
It's
thing.
anodization actually.
Mhm.
This one.
Yep.
That's not the same as this. It is different. Yeah. but this
Anodizing
is-
they do in America. I know that, but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. But
And
it's
still
anodize-
kind of a dirty process too, though, isn't it?
Yeah. But it is much better. You know, the machine is very small, and you just have like chemical powder, you know, out of it. If it's well filtered, could be much more clean. I mean, this could be very clean process as well. It's just it's very expensive to make it clean. So
Right.
you know, it's just always a question of investment, of how many
Right.
times you want to filter, how
The
many
setup.
bath you have around and stuff. So yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there's clean factories and there's factories that operate much dirtier.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's cheaper typically to operate a dirtier space because you're not paying to keep it clean. You
Yes.
know? So,
Dumping a river is much cheaper.
yeah. Man, that was really cool, man. I'm really glad you guys got to spend some time with us here today.
Absolutely.
Guillaume and Tony, thank you guys so much for chatting with us and
Yeah. Thank you
helping
very
us
much.
and our audience better understand
Thanks, Manuel.
some of the ins and outs of manufacturing. You know, we're here to help you guys understand the process and help you take your ideas from a napkin sketch all the way through manufactured product and later into marketing. Thank you guys so much for following along. We'll be answering more difficult to answer questions in our next videos. Thanks again, guys. Appreciate it.
See you guys.